Cinderellas, right, left in this tournament.
Right.
So St. John's now, it feels like, almost has become that because they haven't had a winning record in conference in like over a decade. They've gone through a handful of coaches, and here they are finding themselves in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1999. Let's go to the other side of this, though. We talked about Darryn Peterson here for a second. The Jayhawks go home now in the round of 32, despite having possibly the top pick in the NBA draft in Darryn Peterson. He played 36 minutes. He scored 21 points. He had 4 boards, 4 blocks. We know the narrative that has surrounded Darryn Peterson. Should he be a top 5 pick in the upcoming NBA draft?
Hell no. Hell no. I'm going to say it loud, and I'm going to say it. Listen, I'm not rooting against the kid. The kid is electrifying. He's got the skills. Jay, he's a walking bucket. You see, it's not, ignore his stats, even though yesterday wasn't great, 5 of 15 from the field. But the point is this. He's automatic 20 points. So imagine what he'd be on the NBA level. But first of all, availability was the first issue. We talked about this. You know, him missing 11 games this year, flu and cramps. I don't know what that, I ain't never heard. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't hear about that before. Flu and cramps, Jay. We usually with the fellas, when you're on the basketball court, they call it a hamstring. With him, they specified cramps, okay? That is not something we're accustomed to hearing, keeping a dude from playing basketball. It just isn't, all right? So that's number one. Number two, outside of the availability, there have been times when he's been on the court. Like Jay Williams just pointed out. Jay Williams is sitting there giving Darling props from St. John's, giving Rick Pitino props. I'm giving this cat Bryce props. We're seeing all of this, Bryce Hopkins props, right? We're seeing all of this. And Jay instinctually like, what is Darryn Peterson doing on the left side of the court right there? In the last, we find ourselves on too many occasions asking these kind of questions about him. He's either unavailable, literally, or figuratively speaking, on the court in key moments. He doesn't appear to be available. And that is what is alarming. When you're transitioning from 30, 35 games on the collegiate level to being paid to have an obligation to show up 82 games a year, even though in this day and age we know that's not true, but 65 plus games. How about that, right? 60 plus games. Plus the playoffs. We're relying on you. And I'm saying respectfully, that's what he has to overcome. There's nothing about his skill set that I have an issue with. I think the brother is worth all the hype. He's that and a bag of chips. The brother's special. No doubt. He is not a scrub. All right. And I don't know him personally, never met him, never talked to him. All I can go by is what I see and what I hear the experts covering the sport.
Or Bill Self.
Highlighting. No, this is what it is. And you can't get around that. Jay Williams, it's a big thing. When Jay Williams is on remote right now and he is dissecting what is happening in the game, and in the midst of his soliloquy, he says, what is Darryn Peterson doing right there? That is consistently what we find ourselves doing when it comes to him. That cannot be right there. What are you doing? It cannot be. And maybe he had his back turned and all of that. I get it, because they could have kicked it out to the 3 and maybe you're guarding against that. I'm just saying, every single game, we find ourselves asking, what is he doing? That is not an investment that you can trust with the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft.
And Jay, to kick it to you here, like Seth Greenberg was on this show last week, kind of said the same thing about Darryn Peterson. Was like they're watching him in person in the Big 12 tournament.
And I apologize to you both. I was answering the question about him being the top overall pick, not necessarily a top 5. So I apologize for that, Jay. Okay. I'm not saying top 5.
Okay.
You can't pass up on him on top 5. He just wouldn't be number 1 overall for me.
Okay. Go ahead, Jay.
Thank you for the clarification, because I was about to lose my mind.
Right.
I was going to say, because the question on the screen is, should he be a top 5 pick? So
that's fair.
I appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
If we're having a number 1 overall pick conversation, I'm going to take AJ DeBonsa. I'm going to take him. I'm starting to believe that I may take Darius Acuff. Now, I think AJ is a better talent because of his size and his frame. Caleb Wilson's moving up the charts. Boozer's always going to be in that conversation. I love the positional size of Kingston Flemings. I think I'm going to say this about Darryn Peterson. I've never questioned his talent. I do believe, though, that he does love basketball. I think there's a part of me that after doing more research, Stephen A., over the last month or so, I think it's hard for young players, and I'm not making excuses for him, but I think it's hard for young players at times to do what they want to do. And when you listen to a lot of people, sometimes it may not steer you down the right path. We all know how we act when we're younger, right? As opposed to when we're grown men and we can make decisions for ourselves. So I do see, when I talk to NBA scouts, his positional size as a 2, the way he can catch and shoot, work seamlessly within an offense. He's not really playing with dudes that can actually create shots for themselves. I see him being a special talent, but as a number 1 overall pick, I think there are 2 or 3 other players that I'm looking at now and considerably thinking better of long-term as it relates to being a number 1 pick than I am about Darryn Peterson. That's just how I feel about it.
Can't pass up on him as a top 5. He's too electrifying.
No.
You got to go with him as a top 5 pick. I'm not insane, but the number 1 overall pick, I'm with Jay. It's AJ DeBonza.
Really quick, because we do have to bump because we have a shorter show today. Did what he did in the tournament change your opinion at all? Or
No.
does it stay the same? He could have just not played in the NCAA tournament. We would have felt the same way.
There wasn't enough.
Jay,
There wasn't enough.
What do you think? Did it change anything?
Shay, I'll say one last thing, and I get it. He's a Hall of Fame coach. I'm not sure the system that Kansas plays is the best system for Darryn Peterson to play in. He don't got the ball in his hands all day like Darius Acuff. That's all I'll say.
Okay, we'll leave this here. A lot more tournament talk, though, of course, on the way here on First Take. Iowa's upset over Florida. Had it all, but don't miss what Jay has to say about the game-winning play by the Hawkeyes and maybe the miscues by Florida. Plus, 2 more Blue Bloods were bounced from the tournament yesterday. Are we more concerned about Kentucky, Kansas, or North Carolina right now? First Take rolling along after this.